Good morning, students. Today we will continue chapter 2 in history, socialism in Europe and the Russian Revolution. Part 3. In our previous session, we discussed about the pitiable conditions of workers after the Industrial Revolution. These workers were living in unhygienic areas. There were no limited hours for working for them. They were paid very low wages. The liberals and the radicals had their own ideas to resolve this situation. But by the mid 19th century, the idea of socialism attracted widespread attention. The socialists were against private property and saw it as the root of all social ills of the time. They said that the propertied people, of course, give the employment, but these people work only for self-interest. They don't take any step for the welfare of those people who have worked day and night to make their property. For example, if there is an owner of a factory, the workers work for that day and night, and the owner of the factory does not distribute the share of his profit if he earns more among the workers. So this was the basic idea. They said that if society as a whole, rather than single individuals, control property, more attention would be paid to collective social interests. So the basic idea behind the socialism was that the property should be owned collectively. It must not be owned individually. But how is that possible? And the first idea towards it came up with the cooperatives. Cooperative was one of the way by which socialism could be followed. Now, what were the cooperatives? The cooperatives were the associations of people who produced goods together and divided the profits according to the work done by the members. But the question here is how to make the cooperatives and who will make the cooperatives. For this, there were few philosophers who gave their ideas. One such person was Robert Owen. He sought to build a cooperative community called New Harmony in Indiana, USA. But there were some people who had a view that it is not possible by individuals to make the cooperatives. They had a view that the government should take the initiative. And one such person was the Louis Blanc. He wanted that the government should encourage cooperatives and replace capitalist enterprises. Then, the most important person here is the Karl Marx. He writes a book, Das Kapital, and he expresses his views in this book. He writes that the profit of capitalism was produced by the workers. He says that workers work in the factories and they make the profit. But all this profit is earned by the owner of that factory or the industry. And the condition of the workers remain as it is, because they are always paid low wages. The reason behind it is that the factory owner or the industrialist will always would like to make more and more profit, and for this he will always pay less wages to the workers. That's why he gave the idea that the workers had to overthrow the capitalism and they should take control themselves. He also said that a communist society has to be formed, in which there is no concept of private property at all. He also thinks that a communist society was the natural society of the future. The most famous books written by Karl Marx and Friedrich Engels were, one was the Das Kapital, that was written by Karl Marx, and another was the Communist Manifesto, that was by Karl Marx and Friedrich Engels. And in these books they gave the idea of communism. This idea spread all over the Europe, and there were many followers of these ideas. And to cooperate among all these followers, an international body was formed. And this international body for the cooperation of all those who supported socialism was given the name Second International. You must memorize this word, the Second International. It was an international organization formed to cooperate among the supporters of socialism. After that, number of associations and trade unions were formed in England and Germany. These associations set up funds to help the members in times of distress and demanded a reduction of working hours and right to vote. Based on the idea of socialism, political parties were also formed in different countries. For example, in Germany, the Social Democratic Party, in short known as SPD. In Britain, Labour Party. Likewise in France, Socialist Party. So number of parties were formed on the guidelines of the socialism. But however, till 1914, socialists never succeeded in forming a government in Europe. After the 1914, what all things happened, we will continue in the next part of the chapter. We finish today's session here only. Thank you and have a nice day.